Holding tight, can you see it? Streaming the truth live from where they decree it. Sylvia speaks, no filter, no buffer. Courtroom drama couldn't get any tougher.
When the gavel's first bang, to the witness stands tears. Sylvia's lens captures all your hopes and fears. Uploading justice one trial at a time. Tune in every moment, edges sublime.
Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Faces tell stories, the courtroom can't hide. Sylvia's insights cut through the divide. From jury talks to the lawyer's secret. In Sylvia's world, you know you'll need it. Behind the scenes where whispers are loud, her lens reveals the truth in the crowd. Courtroom secrets laid bare to see. Stay curious with Sylvia Spree. Every objection, every sharp retort, Sylvia's there to give you the report. Exclusive footage no one else can snag. From catchy headlines straight to the tag. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show. Welcome to the Sylvia Show, oh yeah. She's got the inside scoop, don't you care? With every verdict, the suspense does grow. So hit subscribe, let's start the show.
Faces tell.
Hey, good people. Hello, 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 hello. How you guys doing? Welcome everybody. I am going to cover something that I'm going to put it, it's a trigger. It's a trigger type of topic. It's one of those unpleasant things, and the reason why it's a trigger for me, because guys, you know, I used to be a foster parent, and one of the children that I had to pick up from the hospital, she was 6 years old, and she was being abused by her adopted parents, and the father was essaying her from the time she was a baby till she was 5 years old. And the whole process, he admitted it, and he went to jail and everything, but the whole process of they returned her back to the mom, because they said the mom did not know what was going on. But I beg to differ on that, because when speaking to the child, she gave play-by-play where the mom was during the time of her being essayed. And I had contacted the Governor Zell at the time. He sent a representative down to Dublin, Georgia, and I was going back and forth to court to try to save her from going back to the household of hell. And they allowed her to go back. They allowed her to go back, and ever since then, it's been a real bad taste in my mouth, and but that's why I have a hard time. People was asking me to do this story here but I had a hard time with it because of what I was listening to, what I heard, what was happening, and it was bringing some unpleasant emotions on this. So it's hard for me to be neutral in this particular case. It's very, very hard, and I tried my hardest now to be neutral. And Mr. Jarvis Buds is innocent until proven guilty. But here's the deal: his past history, his past conviction says otherwise. So for me to say, I'm no, I'm gonna be biased on this one, y'all. I can't apologize. I'm not gonna apologize, but this time, people like him needs to be castrated. I say it very lightly. So this is a triggering case for me. So I might not act very pleasant. I might, yeah, it starts Friday. I'm Denver. Hold on. Hello, Mr. Woody. How are you? Y'all, Woody is so braggadocious. I'll tell y'all what he's bragging about. He got a plaque. He got the YouTube plaque, y'all. Shout out to Woody. He got the YouTube plaque. He got the YouTube plaque. Shout out to Woody. So today, you guys, I get to take a picture with him with the plaque. With the plaque. So during choir rehearsal, when I go live, y'all see his plaque. We're gonna show his plaque. He got a YouTube plaque for having 100,000 subscribers. He just came in, just pew. People that's been working hard. Mm-mm. I ain't hating, but congratulations to Woody. Congratulations to Woody. Okay, congratulations to Woody. He got his plaque. YouTube sent him his plaque. All right, y'all ready? All right, so it was a okay, we're gonna go back into Nizia how did I say her name? Nizia, right? Nizia Harris. Nizia Harris. I am going to pray for her family. I'm gonna pray for her soul. I'm praying that her body is found, that the family will be able to have closure. I pray that she did not suffer long. I pray that justice will be served. And everyone that has taken a part on this baby's life, that did not protect her, that they shall receive a justice just as well. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll go ahead and get started. Shout out to my folks who decided for me to go ahead on and do this. I'm kicking and screaming because I don't want to do this particular case, but I am going to do it because they want me to dig in and bring you guys the information, because I do things a little bit different from other content creators. It might be boring, but I'm bringing it towards you to you guys in more of a teaching type of thing, a teaching moment. It might be boring, but at least you will thoroughly understand the process and what happens. Okay, You guys, I am going to start off with the news article from this case is out of Wayne County, Michigan. Wayne County, Michigan. And there was a press conference. To my understanding, Nazia was missing from school on January 9th, 2024. And by the time anybody really, there's a big storm coming, y'all. By the time anybody really, I just feel that there was so much failure on people on what happened to her. Okay. Um, I was looking at someone, yes, his trial, there's a hearing coming up on Friday at 9 a.m. And I am going to stream that as well. And I'm going to bring you guys all the information on him. Those who's like behind, like me, we're going to go through this together. Okay. All right. Thank you, VK. Now we're going to start off with the press conference that the district attorney of Harris County in Michigan. Okay, this is their press conference that they did, and we're going to start off from there.
Thank you all for coming today. I want to start out this morning by introducing those that stand with me. To my far right, left, and your right, and who you are.
Matthew Makepeace with the SVU unit at Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Tina Ripley with the SVU unit at Wayne County Prosecutor's Office.
Matt and Tina will be trying the case.
And good morning, Louisa Papelis. I'm also with the Special Victims Unit, the Deputy Chief.
And good morning, Kelly Gleason. I'm the Chief of the Special Victims Unit.
Good morning, Chief White.
Good morning, Lieutenant Amber Roberson, Homicide Missing Person.
Sergeant Shannon Jones, Homicide Missing Person.
Thank you. I have spent decades of my career looking at pictures of murdered people. When I was trying homicide cases for 6 straight years as an assistant prosecutor, I would spend hours thinking about the victim whose case I was getting ready to try, wondering how they spent their last weeks, their last days, their last hours, and their last minutes of their lives. What were they thinking about? Did they know that the end was near? And if it was someone they knew, what must they have been thinking as they were shot, stabbed, or whatever mechanism of death was used and confronted them with by the person they knew or loved? I can't imagine the thoughts that goes through their minds. But it's always 1,000 times worse when the person is a child or a baby, someone in the dawn of their lives who have begun to live their lives. The picture behind me is of Zanaya, and that will always be haunting because it was taken just a short time before the evidence shows that she was never seen or heard from again. It was taken by Nazia herself, a selfie. That's the last known picture that we know about of her. And it was pointed out to me by one of the detectives on this case and by one of the prosecutors. She is smiling and waving and saying hello. But little did she know that she was really saying goodbye. We will provide to you later a very skeleton timeline of the time right before her death, before and after. Of course, the detail would be provided in court. The evidence shows overwhelmingly in this case that she is in fact deceased. The last time she was seen alive was January the 9th of this year, 2024, almost 9 months ago. Her missing status was reported to the Detroit Public School Police Department by her grandmother on that very day when she never returned home from school. And again, that was January the 9th, 2024. In early February of 2024, the case was turned over to the Detroit Police Department. Frankly, that should have happened right away, but they began investigating immediately. The evidence would further show that through text messages.
Here's the problem I have. Why wasn't it turned over immediately to the Detroit Police Department instead of staying in the schools? I guess courtesy officer, that's what they call them down here. Why wasn't that turned over from the beginning? So a lot of time would have not been wasted. That's that I don't quite understand, but we'll see.
That we know and that we have, Zanaya and this defendant were going to meet after school on January the 9th. We know that she did indeed meet up with the defendant that we're charging in this case. We also know that several people close to Mr. Butts, who we were charging later, saw them together in several different locations, people that he knew well. We have evidence that at 9:30 p.m. on that day, that Mr. Butts checked into a motel and the Zanaya was never seen or heard from again. Not from her family, not from her schoolmates, not from her friends, not from social media where she was extremely active with her friends, not from teachers, no one. We know that she had no medical conditions that would cause a life-threatening medical emergency to her. And he, again, was the last person that saw her alive. She would have turned 14 years old just 10 days ago on September the 16th of 2024. And again, no one has seen or heard from her. You look at that face and you do not see the horrors that she had gone through in her short life. The exploitation, the molestations, the sexual abuse, and the pregnancy that she was concealing. The evidence will show that from one of her text messages to and with Jarvis Butts. And we also know, the evidence will show, that there's no evidence of anyone else being the father of that child other than the defendant himself, who we charged today. And he knew she was pregnant. We know that he was also searching for ways to abort the baby. We know that sexually explicit photos were requested by him of her and that she complied and sent them to her. All at the hands, we allege, the man we are charging with her death and also her long-term sexual abuse. In our warrant review process that Matt and Tina and others put together, excellent work on that. Video of 111 gigabytes, witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera, and let me not forget, it was Tina and Matt's memo, but the work of the Detroit Police Department. Anyway, we reviewed 111 gigabytes of video, witnesses and witness statements, body-worn camera footage, surveillance video, police reports, documents, 19 gigabytes, medical records, search warrant returns, phone extractions, which came to 506 gigabytes. Today, we are charging Jarvis Butts with one count of first-degree premeditated murder, one count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, and one count of child sexually abusive material. Today, we are also charging Mr. Butts with more counts of criminal sexual conduct on two more girls, yes, girls, on two other separate cases. The girls in question.
Wait a minute. There's two more other girls? Do y'all know the name of the other two? There's two other ones, so that's a total of three?
Question now are 20 and 11 respectively today, but both were under the age of 13 years old at the time the offenses occurred that we're charging. We are charging that one victim who is now 20 years old, that from April of 2012 to April of 2014, is alleged that defendant Buck sexually assaulted the victim at a residence in Detroit. Further facts and evidence on that matter will be placed on the record at the preliminary examination. In that case, we charge Mr. Butts with criminal sexual conduct, one count in the first degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. In that case, we are also charging Mr. Butts with 3 counts of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree, person under 13, defendant 17 years or older. In the second criminal sexual conduct case, well, I guess the third that we're charging today, we are alleging that the victim, who is now 13 years old, that from July 2015 through July 2017, we're alleging that he sexually assaulted the victim at a residence in Detroit. And again, further facts and evidence will be developed at the preliminary examination. Defendant Butts have been charged with, in that case, 1 count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree. Child under the age of 13, Mr. Butts over the age of 17. Based on all the evidence that I've laid out now and much more that will be shown later in court, based on all of these cases we will present in court, Mr. Butts targeted and befriended women who had to have sexual relationships with their young daughters. He would have relationships with their mothers, but his true desire was to have sex with their young daughters. That's what the evidence will show. He was a classic and expert groomer and pedophile. It's incredibly sad, incredibly unspeakable, and we want to bring justice to her and her family. I have to take this moment to say something to you, and this is not directed at all at Nazia's family, who by all accounts had many in her family that truly loved her. This is directed to everyone else listening to me now. We must be very careful who we let into our hearts and our homes and our lives, especially if you have children. We must be very careful who we have around our children and elders respectively. We must also be very careful who we leave our children with.
Yeah.
Even if they are in a relationship partners, family, and friends. I'll say that again. Even if they are relationship partners, families, or friends. Life can be hard enough at times. But when it comes to our children, we must be deliberative, we must be diligent, and laser focused on their safety.
Absolutely.
And sometimes we must make decisions about them and their lives that we may not like and that they may not like, but it's for the betterment of them and their safety and their future.
Absolutely.
When something doesn't feel right, even if it's just that voice in your head, it usually isn't right.
It isn't.
And sometimes when we are attentive and we do everything right by our children, things can still happen and still go very wrong despite our best efforts. This can happen to good watchers of children. But we must always ask ourselves at the end of each and every day, was I right by each member of my household in terms of their safety? Did I do right by my children? Now, of course, Mr. Butts is presumed innocent unless and until he's found guilty on each and every crime and count that we have charged today.
He has history.
We have been told this morning that the arraignment will be tomorrow, we think at 10:30 a.m. in the morning, but we don't have confirmation of that yet. But the arraignment, we are told, will happen tomorrow morning. Thank you very much. Chief. I'll switch places.
Good morning. This is one of the most difficult cases that I have been a part of, and I'm just so very thankful to the detectives and the investigators in homicide. The tragedies that happened to this little girl touches each and every one of us, and unfortunately, she lost her life at the hands of someone who should have been concerned about her safety. I just want to take a couple moments and thank Madam Prosecutor and her team for the amazing work, the commitment, the hours that they put into this work. I want to thank our major crimes, missing persons, homicide, specifically Sergeant Jones and Lieutenant Amber Roberson. When I tell you the days and hours and the tenacity that they put into this work, it's not often that I'm not surprised by our officers, but when I saw the work and the hours and the time that they put in there, I was absolutely in awe at my weekly briefings and the time that they put into this case. It is not an 8-hour-a-day job. It is it ends when they have to get a couple hours of sleep. And I will tell you, with all the other things going on, this case was always top of mind. Certainly want to thank DPS for their assistance in transferring over some of the information that we were able to get from them with this case. There were a number of people, our community in particular, even our Border Police Commissioner, Tamara Liberty Smith, who was out knocking on doors and passing out flyers, all with the desire to bring this little girl home to her family. Quickly, as the investigation unfolded, the officers realized that was going to be very difficult. Without going into great detail, I will tell you, as the prosecutors indicated, hours and hours and many gigabytes of information and phone records and knocking on doors and pulling video went into this investigation. And sadly, we find ourselves where we are now. But if there's any solace in any of this, is that we take a lesson from this. We make strong and good decisions for our children, keep them out of harm's way. We are not pointing out anything that someone did wrong. We just want to make sure people do a lot more things right. And again, Madam Prosecutor, thank you and your team for the work.
All right, the Chief and I will take a few questions, if you have any.
I have one. How did Jarvis Butts have access to Mosiah?
He knew some of their family members, some of her family members.
Can you talk about the time frame when you mentioned grooming? Are you able to elaborate at all over how long of a period of time he may have quote unquote groomed or knew her? Or
all I can and will say at this point that it started in 2022.
So just for accuracy, this little girl's remains have never been found?
No.
Is there a thought?
Her body has never been found.
Any thought where she babied?
Well, if we knew that, we would certainly have a case that we weren't trying. We were trying without a body.
And regardless, can you say what triggered charges now?
Again, there's an incredible amount of material. And one of the reasons why lately I've been giving out amounts of material that we've been going through, because I think people sometimes just do not get it or understand about all the work that it takes by the investigators and by the prosecutors to put a case like this together. Whenever you have a case like this, where there has been no body found, it makes it more difficult and much more investigation must be done because we have to be able to prove that the person is deceased.
Are you able to say how long this suspect was on your radar or when you really started locking in on him?
No, by law, I can't really comment on that because that would leave me in a place where I can't talk about right now.
Could things have maybe moved forward a little faster if the school police had got with Detroit police right away?
Yes.
Can you talk a little more about?
No, I better not. I have strong opinions there.
You added to that the evidence, however, suggests that Ms. Harris is dead, correct?
We are going to be able to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she's dead, as we must do by law.
You can't say what, why?
Because no one's seen her, no friends, no family, no teachers, no medical conditions. Even on her birthday, 10 days ago, she contacted no one. This was a child that never missed school, but the school hasn't seen or heard from at all again. This is a young girl who was very active on social media and crickets, nothing, since January the 9th of 2024.
Anything from the defendant?
And we have other things too that will come out in court.
Any cooperation at all or utterances, statements from the defendant?
I can't get into that.
Without being able to speak in detail, I'm sure, do you have any evidence to indicate manner and location of death or where this might have occurred?
No, because we can't do that unless we have a body.
Mr. Butts is currently facing charges being prosecuted by your office. Can you talk additional charges before these? Can you talk about those now?
He is, and we next appear in court on Monday, January 30th.
Have there been any other arrests made in this case?
I don't think so.
We just saw an unfounded rumor that there were family members arrested. Didn't know if you could squash that or confirm that.
It's an unfounded rumor. It's not true.
Thank you.
So no family members was arrested. So there was a rumor, y'all.
Of how long Uzziah may have been being molested?
Again, the sexual abuse began based on the evidence that we have in 2022. Or at least the grooming began in 2022.
Are you able to say how far along she was on her pregnancy?
We don't know because we don't have a body.
I have a question for Chief White just about missing children just broadly. When these types of cases happen, obviously we get the reports all the time. Can you talk about what you think didn't work in this case? You know, in terms of like maybe the seriousness that was considered when she first went missing and according to BPSD, CD versus what got to you guys?
I would much rather have had the case earlier. I don't know if the outcome would have been any different based on some of the things we've learned in the course of the investigation, but we may have had an opportunity to recover even more evidence. But we're pretty confident that the evidence that we have is strong. We know it is, in fact, but you can never have enough evidence. So if there's anything that could have gone a little bit better with regards to the first time that we were brought in, I would have wanted to be brought in much earlier. For that reason.
Just some background on Jarvis Butts. What's his age and is he from Detroit?
He's 41 years old from Highland Park, I believe.
Yeah.
And Chief, as soon as you guys got word of this, you guys were out immediately, right? I think you were even out searching. You guys set up a command post.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean, we took over the case after we were briefed. We took charge of the case and our teams got engaged in it immediately and hit the ground running and didn't look back.
Can you talk about, Chief White or maybe Sergeant Jones, the Maziah's case in connection to the other missing young people, girls, children, like what your workload looks like, how you balance those cases and are able to, the numbers of youth that are missing right now?
Yeah, well, we make that public. We put it on our social media pages. There's a number of misinformation, misconceptions about missings. Oftentimes what we have is kids that run away for a day or two. They have a way of investigating these cases. They know the ones that routine runaways, if you will. They still look, they still go out, but there's ways to do it. Going to the schools, social media with kids, it's a big benefit to us for our investigations. And they also know when they become serious missings. All missings are serious, but internally there's a title that it has been elevated to a serious missing, and that involves a lot more work and connection with the family. Each time we get a call, we go out to the home, regardless of whether or not it's a person who has run away or a routine runaway or serious missing. We check the home. We have found kids in the home hiding. So it's really complex and would take its own news conference to explain it. I will tell you this, they do a very good job. We've got thousands of kids this year that have been returned home. Many of which were runaways, so we don't have a condition where kids are being picked up on the street and kidnapped. We did have an incident a couple of years ago where that happened, and the prosecutor charged that person. In fact, it was just recently convicted. So it's a lot that goes into it. We'd be more than happy to sit down and explain our process with you if you want to do something on an aside.
Chief, assuming then, inferring that investigators knew early on this was not a runaway case, or just if you could share some details of the fact that I'm assuming you knew pretty quickly this was not what she did as far as running, and there was foul play involved. And if you can address the complexities that the prosecutor alluded to of not having a body and how you build a case around that.
Well, the prosecutor builds cases. We bring evidence to the prosecutor. We bring our investigation, and she makes the charging decision. So I don't want to get into that lane because it's not mine. I'll tell you, as I said earlier, the prosecutor has alluded to a lot, and there's a lot in the press release as to what goes into it. These folks looking at hours and hours of video evidence, and as the prosecutor indicated earlier, I don't think people recognize in this new age of modern technology what that has done to investigative process. The days of old school investigations, some of that stuff still is valid and important. You got to get out on the street, knock on doors, and talk to people. But what the digital world has brought us is new opportunities to find additional information and the cadence in which people communicate, right? Every one of us have these things in our pocket called cell phones that we use for everything. And if people go dark, and they've never been dark, and particularly kids, they show their food, they show their school, they take selfies, and when that stops, that elevates your concern as to why that has stopped. So it's a very complex process. These are the experts. I'm just the chief. But, again, we can sit down and talk to you about it in great detail, but a lot goes into it. And when you're talking about 111 gigabytes of information and text messages and dumping phones and literally going through methodically each one of the pages and the text messages and the communication as to when they stopped and the last word said that should have prompted a response. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. I can't get into that. All those things elevate your curiosity and brings you into other areas. So it takes a lot more time, but when you get it all right and you pull all the things together, you become as confident as we are now with this case. And we're very, very, very happy that this predator, this child predator, will not be able to hurt any more children and frankly, any more women, because we know that the women were a pathway to the children. That's that period. And I'm going to stop there before I get in trouble with the prosecutor.
506 gigabytes just from the cell phones.
Are there any other people that are close to her family that may be charged?
Simba, I'm going to answer your
This
question
investigation
in a minute.
and we have charged the one single person that's responsible for not only her death, the evidence show, but also for the sexual assaults that we have charged today.
And what are his priors? Do we have those?
Oh, I definitely can't go there. I'll lose my law license.
Okay, I'm gonna show y'all his prior.
Said they previously had talked to CPS about allegations of sexual abuse for Messiah and other kids. Did that ever make it to your office? Is that something that police have investigated before?
Yeah, let me just say this, that if anyone that is watching this press conference right now or reads any of the coverage that I'm sure that you will give this, has any reason to believe that they were a victim of his or that they know something else, we certainly welcome them to contact the Detroit Police Department.
So you can't say if there were any previous reports on that?
No.
Has Mr. Butts made any admissions at all?
We can't talk about that.
Thank you.
All right, y'all.
Thank you very much.
All right, that was the press conference once they officially placed charges on him. Okay. He did go before Judge the judge to see whether or not they were going to move forward with the indictment. And the last judge did move forward in an indictment, and she also made a statement. And I'm going to play her statement, and then I'm going to show you his counts, his previous charges, and what's happening on Friday. Okay, that's what we're here for, to give you information.
And the one thing I had highlighted in pink was the quote, "In this case, there was no physical evidence such as blood stains or a weapon leading defendant to Joyce's death." In this case, we don't have the same facts or circumstances. I do agree, this is a circumstantial case, and circumstantial evidence is sufficient for a bind over and even conviction. Today is January 9th, 2025, exactly 1 year, from the day Neziah Harris disappeared. Before I get into the charges, and the main charge of premeditated first-degree murder, I have to speak on Neziah Harris and the community who failed her. And I am only presented with certain evidence. I don't know the whole story. The attorneys know more than me, the family knows more than me. But from what I have heard over the last 4 days and 5 days total, is that several people failed her. I don't know where her mother is. I don't know anything other than that she was forced to live in a home where she was not protected or given the adequate attention and love. I don't know where her father is. I don't have any mention of him in her life, no presence. To Cordell, AKA King, and all the men who saw Jarvis Butts hanging out and always around these young girls, including Neziah, and his 9-year-old daughter going up to the shop to clean up the shop. The school counselor who never showed up, or the person who was supposed to show up if that counselor was absent, after Neziah was on the floor on the day she went missing, saying that she needed to speak to someone and speak to a counselor. There's no mention of CPS, but I wonder what their involvement was over the years, because this was not just a 1-year thing. There are text messages at least from 2022. To her adoptive grandmother, Annette Harris, whose testimony, in my opinion, was very questionable. I understand why the people put her on the stand to establish Neziah's residence and the houses on Bedford and the regular routine, to establish also that Neziah was not a runaway child, that she was not a bad kid. I do believe she adopted Neziah. I do believe that she had 6 kids in the house. I believe that Neziah had on a dark hoodie the day she went missing, and that she had on red and black Nikes that day. What is hard to believe is that the defendant never came into the house as she testified. And there was also a minor that testified that he did as well. Text messages that show between him and Neziah that he did in the basement, saying he was going to the shower, stealing her panties. He was always lurking around that house and asking for Janiyah and Zaniyah, from what I know. I even thought about the breakfast routine and saying that all the kids like eating breakfast at school. Did they have a choice? I don't know. But to always send those girls up there to clean up the shop raises questions. And how were there 2 women in that house who have birthed the children themselves who did not notice that Neziah was pregnant, and I believe she was, and not having her period anymore? But then after hearing text messages today, begging Jarvis for pads as if she didn't have anyone else to give them for her. And what stood out the most was when Annette Harris stood on the stand, and she learned around 6 p.m. that Neziah did not come home from school, and said she looked around for her and decided to wait until the next morning to call the police. Without a tear, without emotion, or any expression of being devastated. And to her Aunt Shannon, who also showed no emotion, expression of being devastated from Neziah going missing. She stated that she had friends help look for Neziah, but was directed to just wait until the morning to call the police. A grown woman who likely suspected something strange going on didn't feel the need to call the police either. They were both able to go to sleep at night without hearing from Desire or having any indication that she was coming home that night. And of course, the defendant, who I will get to in a minute. I don't know who else failed Desire, but the community did. As far as the people establishing probable cause, I will focus on count 1 as it's been stated that there is no contention with counts 2 and 3. In count 3, I will amend based off of the motion and the testimony I heard that Desire was 12 and not 13 at the time that Jarvis Butts had sexual intercourse with her. The prosecution is correct. You do not have to have a body to establish first-degree premeditated murder. It would have been a much shorter exam had her body been found, but this is where we are. In the last 365 days, no text messages. We all heard today and yesterday that she was very active and frequently texted. No social media for a year. We heard through testimony that she was also active on social media. No phone calls, which she was also able to do according to testimony. No physical sighting of her by anyone. She never came back to school. No one has seen her. Medical records dated from July 2014 to October 2023 indicated that she had no life-threatening medical issues that would lead to a natural cause of death. The black hoodie found in the area of 7 Muhlenberg with her DNA and blood on it. The holes in the hoodie consistent with some sort of struggle, violence, or weapon being used. And we know that there were no holes in that hoodie when she wore it to school. We saw a picture of her in a black hoodie on her last day that everyone saw her. I do believe her grandma testified truthfully about the sweatshirt that she had on and that was practically new. And the border agent who said that no evidence of animals would have destroyed the clothing or the shoes to possibly lead to animals tearing up that hoodie. The clear glasses found in the blue Nissan the day after she went missing. The behavior of the defendant when he snatched those glasses. They looked exactly like the glasses she had on in her last picture, according to the witness. The shoes that her brother described as the same shoes that were found also in the area of 7 Muhlenberg near the hoodie. While this is still probable cause, the evidence all points to Jarvis Butts. His locations, him being seen with her last, the abortion searches, the abrupt silence between the two of them in text messages, and the constant lies he told throughout the entire investigation. And they were proven to be lies with text messages and other testimony. We may never know what happened, but from what I heard today and over the last 4 or 5 days, it appears he intended to perform what he thought was a do-it-yourself abortion on Desire. It went south, and instead of seeking medical attention for her, he intentionally killed her and tried his best to cover it up. As much as I want her to be alive today, there is at least probable cause to show and believe that she's dead and she was murdered by Jarvis Butts. Mr. Butts, stand up. You've been sitting over there for 4 days with your head down, sitting between and behind your attorneys with your mask on and taking vigorous notes. I want you to pay attention and listen to everything I have to say. I have been trying to figure out for the last 5 days, you. At one point, I thought you were cognitively impaired in the beginning of this exam. And then maybe you had the brain of a 10-year-old, and that's why you were doing such things. But as I heard more and more testimony, you're just the true definition of a pedophile. Watching you laugh and brag about all the women you have with different women and the children and the girlfriends, and making babies to groom them and having them in your presence, cleaning up your shop, and the little girls around you, has landed you here today. You groomed Desire. You played mind games with her. We all heard that. You controlled her emotionally. She was exposed to so much at such a young age. The text messages between you two were disgusting to hear. And to think that she had you saved in her phone as Bay for life. Desire deserved so much more. And while I mentioned other people that failed her, Jarvis Butts, you are the monster in this whole picture. She did deserve love from her parents and everyone who was in her life. She was ignored, she was neglected, and you took complete advantage of that. She wanted someone to love her, and she will never know what that feels like. Your children deserve more. As much as defense counsel has raised issues on count one, all that has done is raise the question of fact for the trial fact, which means that this will be for a jury or a judge to hear in Third Circuit. I pray for the healing of all the victims and the young girls and possibly boys who have come into contact with you. As a community, we should look at this case as a prime example of how much work we have to do when it comes to protecting our children and especially our Black girls. I pray for closure and healing for all those who have been traumatized by you. And for you, Jarvis Butts, I wish you a speedy trial and that justice be delivered. Your bind over date is January 16th at 9:00 a.m.
All right, that was the judge speaking. Now, a couple of you guys asked me about this. What was his previous charges and what whether or not he goes to trial. Now, she is not going to be the judge that is presiding over the trial. So let me go ahead and bring you guys some information that I have, okay? Okay. Here is what this is his correctional facility information, right? You got his name and everything, his height, and he began his supervision on February 7th, 2024, right? And that was originally on the gun charge. Then when they start the investigation, that's when they found out the other stuff, right? He's on supervisory discharge on the 27th of 2027 of the charge from that gun charge. Okay, let me just show you. In 2004, his first offense was November 29, 2004, right? He was charged with criminal sexual conduct in third degree, and that's for a person from 13 through 15, okay? And his sentence date was October 31st, 2005. And his discharge date was 2014. And he was discharged, offender discharge. He took a plea, and this plea gave him that much time. Okay? Then he had a second sentence, which was for 2 years, right? And that was from July 12th, 2005. His sentence was supposed to be commuted on the 31st of October, and his discharge date was 2007. Okay? And that was a plea as well. And they said discharge reason, order terminated, continued for additional order. Okay. Now, this is his, because of the charges he got now, his probation has been revoked, right? So now he has this right here, what he was charged for. In April 2015, 2023, he was charged for carrying a concealed weapon, right? He took a plea. His sentence date started on February 7, 2024, right? Now he became inactive for that carrying a weapon, okay? And This is his special condition, that no violation of any criminal law. Number 2, not leave the state without permission. Number 3, monthly reporting. Number 4, notify of changes of residence. Number 8, serve jail time as described. Number 8.2, pay crime victim assessment. And then 8.18, state costs. That's what his probation and all that stuff is for that. Now we're going to go into what we have right now is the demographic of his inmate information. Okay. Demographic of his inmate information. And here it is right here. If you guys can see, let me know. Right now, the counts that he has. Right now, there is a $250,000 bond that's out there, total bond. I don't think he ever made that bond. And here's the charges. He's charged for, there's 2 charges, 2 charges for 4/4/2004. That was the gun charge. Remember that? And let me just go ahead and give you what the numbers are. These are the numbers, charges, and then what they stand for. Number 1 was carrying a weapon, concealed weapon. Number 2 is criminal sexual conduct, 2nd degree, persons under 13 and defendant 17 or older. Then number 3, which is up here, he's charged up there, which is homicide, murder 1st degree, premeditated. Then number 4, he's charged with number 4, child sexual abuse activity. Number 5, criminal sexual conduct, 2nd degree, person under 13, defendant 17 or older. Then he has number 6, which is the same type of charge. Number 7, same type of charge. Number 8, same type of charge. Number 9, same type of charge. He has homicide, 1st degree, premeditated. Number 10. Number 11, sexual abuse, child sexual abuse activity. And then he has number 12, criminal sexual conduct, same charge as the other one. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 charges of the sexual conduct, 2nd degree. And then he has 1, 2, child sexual abuse. Got 2 of those. I thought it was supposed to be 3, but it's 2. Okay, and then he has 2 murder charges. And then 1, he has a local agency hold on him too, which is the ordinance. Okay. All right, so that is what he has on that. Okay, let me just go ahead and close this out for y'all. All right, now he is now registered as a sex offender, and that was done recently as of 2/7/2024. I don't know why they did it after the fact, but they should have did it when he first had his first charge back in 2005, when he had that first count of sexual assault, but they didn't do it. Then we have this. Now, here's the court record for the registered court information. And you guys, I'm going to bring that up to you guys right now. It's terrible, Cynthia. It's terrible. Now, here is the court detail of what's going to happen. All right. It shows the counts and the charges, right? It tells about his disposition and other events. These are all the hearings that he has had. He had a preliminary, he has a bond continue hearing. Then as of the 7th, he has a conference. So the trial is not going to start on Friday, but he has a conference, a calendar conference, which is just basically a status hearing for the trial. And by then you'll know exactly what time, when the trial starts. The judge for this case is going to be Judge Nicholas Hathaway is the judge on this case. And it starts at 9 o'clock in Eastern Standard Time, Detroit time. Okay. So it's going to be Friday at 9 a.m. Judge, oh, y'all can't even see it. It's pretty small, isn't it? Oh, well, sorry. I did not know it was that little. You can't see that. But it's going to be on the 7th at 9 a.m. and Judge Nicholas Hathaway. And that is Circuit Court number 3. Okay? So I did listen to the reading of the text messages and all this kind of stuff. I'm trying to get myself to actively listening to this. It's going to be in the courtroom for this case. Where can we watch it? I'm going to have it live. I'm going to stream it. I'm going to stream it straight from the courthouse. I'm going to stream it on Friday. So be prepared. I'm going to put it on my calendar for Friday. Yeah, Lady Leo, definitely lots of prayer on this case, because this case is a trigger. It's a trigger case. He gave her chlamydia, Lord Jesus. Yeah, so I just want you guys to bear with me with this case, because I did not want to even cover this case at all, because this is one of those type of cases that really gets you. Sylvia, grandma and auntie should be locked up with Jarvis. CPS failed. Nazaya, 2. This case is deep, real deep. I know some people have been covering this case. Yeah, I think it's 4 years old, and he gave chlamydia. His own daughter, I believe. His sister opened the eyes for this case. For you, Sylvia, this is going to be hard for you. It is. This case is going to be really, really hard. But okay, I got to bring something else to you guys' attention. Hold on a second. Let me bring something else to you guys' attention. Hold on a second. Yeah, I got to bring up something to you guys' attention as well. Something else. Just hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. Let me just pull it up for you. Just a second. All right, I gotta show y'all this. Hold on a second. Yeah, it doesn't just happen to women. Listen to this.
Filed this week alleging widespread sexual abuse inside the juvenile justice system in Illinois.
Today, some of the people who say they were molested as children by detention center workers spoke publicly about what they experienced. Dane Pleco has the story.
The lawsuits involve hundreds of people who were incarcerated in Cook County and state of Illinois juvenile detention facilities between 1996 and 2023, who say they were sexually abused by staff at those facilities who told them that nobody would believe their stories.
I made mistakes to end up there, but no mistake could justify the way I heard it, the way I was hurted and sexually abused by staff members there.
About a half dozen men described the sexual abuse they say they suffered at the hands of staff at Illinois Youth Centers and the Cook County Juvenile Temporary Detention Center in Chicago.
I was in my cell when a correctional officer who was supposed to protect and supervise me and the other kids assaulted me.
The sexual abuse triggered something in me. I felt so much self-doubt. I attempted to commit suicide.
On Monday, 133 men and women filed a lawsuit against the state of Illinois and Cook County, bringing to 800 the number of sex abuse lawsuits filed since last May. Their lawyers say it wasn't just a few bad apples, but a systemic pattern of abuse.
The juvenile justice system promises rehabilitation, but instead, for our clients, the system was nothing more than a pipeline for suffering. These children, now men, now adults, were handed over to sexual predators on a silver platter.
The lawyers say the Illinois Attorney General's office has attempted to dismiss the lawsuits in court and expressed little interest in launching an investigation into the allegations.
We have provided dozens of names of the perpetrators who were employed by the state and Cook County who committed these horrific acts of sexual abuse. And we have heard nothing from the state asking to work with our survivors on a criminal investigation.
The lawyers say while there have been a handful of prosecutions involving the downstate Harrisburg facility, most of those accused have never been investigated. And in fact, they say some are still on the state and county payroll. On the west side, Dane Placco, Fox 32 Chicago.
Now y'all hear this? You see how they treat it when it's young men?
We reached out to the office of Illinois Attorney General Kwame Raoul for a response. So far, we have yet to hear back.
Y'all heard that, right? There's more on this. Hold on a second. Hold on.
They were once youth inmates inside a facility run by the state's Department of Juvenile Justice. Now 200 of them are suing the state, claiming systemic sexual abuse and assault while they were locked up.
CBS 2 political reporter Chris Tide joins us now with their calls for change and also a new question they want the governor to answer tonight. Chris?
That's right, Joe and Erica. They were troubled kids locked up between 1996 and 2019, ranging from 10 to 17 years old. Now adults, they are sounding the alarm. But when they did so as kids inside the system, they say the brutal punishments just got worse.
The governor and the attorney general of this state should hear the voices of these survivors.
At Murfreesboro, a staff member preyed upon me, sexually abused me. When I was a young teen, 5 different adults at IYC Harrisburg and IYC Joliet abused me sexually and emotionally.
The 200 victims now suing the state, namely those that operate Illinois youth centers, from St. Charles to Joliet to Warrenville, places where troubled youth are housed and supposed to be rehabilitated.
They made you up like literally medication, because I'm telling y'all I got sexually abused. Like, really? Medication? And then y'all send me to a maximum security?
Jermaine Bell says when he complained of abuse at age 15, he was medicated and spent 60 days in confinement at the Joliet facility. His lawyers fear that's still going on.
There is no evidence that any of the conditions that enabled this institutionalized sexual abuse have been fixed.
Illinois' Department of Juvenile Justice telling CBS 2 they have policies on these campuses to ensure the safety of youth, that their protocols comply with the state and federal safety standards, and that all facility staff undergo background checks and training. When CBS 2 asked the governor about the allegations last month, when the first round of allegations emerged, he told our Charlie DeMar,
"They don't want to comment too much about it because it's ongoing litigation. But I understand it's a matter that involved the prior administration of not only DJJ, but the prior administration of the governorship."
That was accurate a month ago, but one of the cases included in this latest round is from 2019 when Pritzker was in office. We asked the governor for a comment on if anything has changed, his spokesperson saying the Attorney General's office handles litigation. We cannot comment on pending litigation. In the newsroom, Chris Tide, CBS 2 News. Joe and Erica.
All right, Chris, thank you.
Y'all heard that, right? Y'all see that? Poor kids, man. Oh. But anyway, guys, Friday, 9 a.m., and I'm going to put a reminder up that Jarvis Butts is back in court in the Detroit, Wayne County 3rd Judicial Court, where it's going to be under Judge Nicholas Hathaway. So I will be streaming it here at 9 o'clock on Friday. Yeah. Whew. We just gotta breathe, guys. Breathe. You don't even want to see him. Very sickening. Very sickening to better. Lord have mercy. I don't know. This stuff is a triggering thing. I know some of you guys know more about this case than I do. I'm I'm gonna you see I'm so like disorientated. Well, juror just awarded a family of a 17-year-old that was art and killed on Myrtle Beach. They awarded them $700 million. $700 million. Of course. Let me just show you guys that right now. Let me show y'all guys this one. Hold on a second. Y'all, it's a thunderstorm out there, y'all. You said even worse, Nazia's cousin, Janaea. What happened with Janaea? Renette, I know what you mean. Cousin, and yeah, I know what you mean about that. I believe everybody that's part of it needs to be incarcerated. They need help. Is she the young girl that testified at Jarvis' preliminary hearing? Janaea, let me see. Let me look it up. Her up. Hold on a second, y'all, before I go out. Because, I got choir rehearsal today. I'm going to be going to choir rehearsal. Janiyah. Her last name is Harris also? Hold on, let's see. Hold on. Oh, you know what? Hold on. I want to show you Naziah. Naziah's dad passed away. Did y'all know that? Her dad passed away recently. And then, hold on a second. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me just show you guys this. He just recently passed away before they even found her. I mean, not found her, before they even charged him.
Well, guys, the family of that missing Detroit teen still seeking justice in this case. That includes Naziah's biological father, who exclusively spoke with 7 News Detroit. He is fighting for his own life, but is holding on to find his little girl.
I know the family hopes and prays that she is still alive.
Correct.
But if you get that phone call,
that's why I'm getting back in the ministry.
48-year-old Mervyn Jennings is Naziah Harris's biological father. He says he's tried to reconnect with his daughter for the past 8 years. Jennings says he was only reconnected after 2 Detroit Public Schools police officers tracked him down.
When the last time you been up to your daughter's school? I said, my daughter's school. I said, I don't even know what school she go to. I said, I've been looking for her. And they looked at each other, and I was like, what's going on? They said, your daughter's missing.
He's dealt with serious medical issues in the 8 years away from Naziah. Jennings has congestive heart failure. He says in April, doctors gave him only 7 days to live. While that prognosis has slightly improved, Mervyn needs a new heart. While dealing with those difficult health challenges, Mervyn says what really hurts his heart.
I believe my daughter was pregnant. Yes.
He says much of the family thinks Naziah was being sexually assaulted by a man who is a convicted sex offender. We're not naming him because he hasn't been officially charged in the case.
Oh my God. They're like, oh my God. Oh my God. You know, what's done in the dark, it's gonna come. You can't do this. You can't do this, man.
And get this, Mervyn also says that he talked to Naziah's older brother, who says that registered sex offender has been molesting her since she was 12 years old. They are holding out hope that Naziah will come home alive. We're live in downtown Detroit, outside of the Frank Murphy Hall of Justice. I'm Ryan Marshall for 7 News Detroit this morning.
Yeah, you can hear the emotion in his voice, and we're certainly thinking about him and the entire family and hope that they can.
Oh, well, he passed away now, right? He was denied bond on this case. Okay. Okay, I'm trying to see. All right. Podcast has interviews with so many family members, they'd rather come on and fight for each other than get justice for that baby. Wow. He was married with Sia's mom, got pregnant. Oh, she basically resulted in an affair to hide from her. Oh, poor baby. Oh my God. So oh Lord. Wow. Kathy's going on a cruise? Kathy going on True Crime Cruise. They're going on a cruise, y'all. A True Crime Cruise. Anybody want to go? They're going to the Nassau, Bahamas on January 2026. Y'all want to go? Let's go, y'all. Let's go on a cruise. They're going on a cruise January 26th through January 30th, 2026, Miami to Nassau, Bahamas. Chris Stewart from True Crime. They're going to have a murder mystery on Men Production by Men Production. They're going to have Dance Party by Shut Up and Dance. Self-Defense by Adrenaline. And live music by Danielle McLean. Jury, they're going to have jury games, solving crimes. Y'all want to go? Let's go. Let's all of us go. I want to tell Kathy I want to go. Hold on, let me tell Kathy. I'm going to text her right now. Say, Kathy, how much is it? I want to go. Hold on, let me see. Let me text Kathy. I just texted. I told her I want to go on the cruise. You're going to Bahamas. What's the date? January 26th to the 30th of 2026. They got Jan and Callahan Walsh, host of America Most Wanted. They're going to be their special guests. True Crime Cruise to the Bahamas. Hollywood and Crime by Tracy Patton, and they have Carl Miller, Kill List. It says cabins are on sale for now. Let me tell you how much it costs. Hold on a second. It says $100 down by May 26th. Let me tell you what the packages is like. Get 4 meals, 4 complimentary restaurant onboard buffet. Let's see. Photo op. First one is the Silver Sled is $1,335 per person, double occupancy. Then the next, the Diamond package is $3,935. That's the Diamond Detective package. And then they have the exclusive package. Hold on. Four nights round trip cruise. What comes with the Diamond? The Diamond, you get the cruise, you get the all meals before complimentary restaurant, onboard buffet, you get the basic drinks, you get the access to podcast hosts, you get the exclusive commentary credentials, you get photo ops with selected talent, you get exclusive Haven amenities, you get exclusive experience on onboard talent, you get priority access to merch store, you get exclusive commentary gift, you get commemorative whatever. You get a free Wandery subscription, 12 months. I don't care about no subscription. The only thing you get different is the exclusive Haven amenity. I don't know what that's all about. How many days for that price? It's 4 days, 4 nights, yeah. Miami to Nassau, Bahamas, 4 nights. $100 holds your spot. Access to podcast panel and presentation. Who cares about that? We don't care about that. For an extra $1,000, you can onboard talent, exclusive onboard talent experience. Who cares about that? Never heard of the ship. We are the onboard talent. Yeah, that is steep, isn't it? That's very steep. I think they paying for the talent. They got to pay for the people that they bring in aboard. Okay, guys. I'm about to take my butt on because I got to go to choir rehearsal. And I will see you guys in a few when I get to church to go to choir rehearsal. Y'all want to go to choir rehearsal with me? Y'all want to hear me hit a beat? Hit a note? Y'all want to hear a note? Look how much my hair has grown, Lord Jesus. It's just a boat ride. I can get by with that less. Me too, Renette. I can go for 2-something on Caribbean cruise for that much. Caribbean cruise for that. Man, I can take 2 or 3 cruises. I be getting those little specials for $2.99, $4.99. You see the root? You see the root, y'all? See the root? The root. See how it's growing? The root is on fire. You see it's grown. The root is on fire. See my root, y'all? Look at it. The root. Exactly, Renette. Exactly, Renette. We could go do our own cruise. Yes, a lot of growth. My hair be growing so fast. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. Ooh, chow. And this is our knotless braids because all of this is like mostly mine. Look at this. Look, y'all. Look. Ooh, chow. Lots of new growth. It's ridiculous how quick this hair. And then I got a lot of hair. Ooh, Lord have mercy. All right, good people. We'll see you later. I don't have a ponytail yet. I have like a pigtail. I don't even have a pigtail. My hair is not touching it yet. It's going to grow. Watch. All right. I'll see you guys in a few. I'm going to go to choir rehearsal. Choir rehearsal is at 7:30. So I'll be leaving out of here about 6:30. I'll see you guys later. Love y'all. Peace out. May the Lord watch between me and thee while we're absent one from another. Peace out. Bye.
Thank you for watching the infamous Sylvia channel, where laughter and fun make up our panel. Together we build this digital spree. We appreciate you and our growing family. With mods by our side and chat flowing free in this online space. It's just you and me. We laugh until tears roll down like the rain. In this virtual world, you ease all my pains. We're family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We cherish the moments, the highs and lows, from the latest gossip to stories untold. You're more than a viewer, you're part of the crew in this space of ours. It's all because of you. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign and joys we'll both gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mods and chat, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. We're a family, not just to show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars in check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night. This digital world where emotion is shared, every post and reaction showing we care. The love is real in this virtual domain. With every sign, enjoys what we'll gain. We're a family, not just a show. Every click and comment makes us grow. Mars and check, keeping the vibe so right. Together we shine like stars in the night.